At exactly 11 p.m. on September 9, 2025, from a forward operating base in the Brest region of western Belarus, right on the border with Poland and Ukraine, 19 Shahed 136 loitering munitions lifted off simultaneously. Their mission was bold, to unleash chaos on NATO's largest logistics hub at Rzeszów, a lifeline where fuel depots, ammunition stockpiles, and armored vehicles waited in silence. More than just a warehouse, it was the main gateway for Western weapons flowing into Ukraine. If the swarm succeeded, the damage would not only be measured in flames and wreckage, but in political shockwaves rippling across the alliance. For the Kremlin, the strike was designed as a test and a threat rolled into one. They believed a sudden wave of low-flying drones could break through, proving NATO's shield was porous, perhaps even forcing hesitation in the alliance. Just one UAV slipping past could ignite headlines across the world, undermining NATO's credibility. Moscow thought it was a flawless plan, a lightning raid engineered to expose weakness. But what Russia did not anticipate was how meticulously their move had already been charted. NATO's intelligence web had been watching, tracing the preparations, readying the trap. Over Poland, the silence was deceiving. Patriot PAC-3 batteries scanned the skies, radars turning slowly like predators waiting to strike. F-16 fighters sat armed and fueled at air bases, cockpits glowing in standby. High above, Dutch F-35s rotated patrols while an E-3A AWACS cast its gaze nearly 400 miles, fusing every radar return into a single picture. It was a vast steel web, invisible yet unbreakable, stretched over Poland's skies. And on this night, the trap was set. The drones would not be flying into empty air. They would be walking straight into an ambush NATO had prepared for weeks. Inside an underground command bunker in eastern Poland, the night shift sat locked onto their scopes. Green sweeps circled endlessly, every officer leaning closer, headsets pressed tight. For weeks, intelligence had warned that Russia might probe NATO's defenses with kamikaze drones, but no one expected the moment to arrive so soon. At 11:07 p.m., faint flickers appeared on radar screens from the east, less than 50 miles from Ukraine's border. At first, they looked like migrating birds, drifting at low altitude. Then the electromagnetic signature sharpened, distinct, undeniable. These were Shahed 136s, the same dreaded drones that Ukraine had endured for more than 2 years of war. The voice of the radar officer cut through the bunker, flat and precise. Unidentified targets bearing 270, speed 110 miles per hour, altitude under 300 feet. High probability, Shahed 136. Seconds later, more tracks emerged. Not a lone intruder, but a formation, a swarm stretched along the frontier. Their trajectory shifted, angling westward, straight into Polish airspace. On the IFF system, the tally lit up, 19 hostile contacts, closing fast. The bunker grew heavier, air thick with tension. Red warning lights pulsed across the walls, illuminating tense faces. This was no longer a drill. This was the strike on Rzeszów, the lifeline hub that fed Ukraine's war effort. At the same moment, Ukrainian skies were alive with chaos. Air raid sirens howled over Kiev, Kharkiv, and Odessa as Russia launched a broader wave of drones. But the anomaly was undeniable. 19 had broken away, veering north, aimed at Poland. The rules of engagement echoed one last time. No fire until they crossed the border. Every battery, every pilot was chained by that order. 1 second too early, NATO could be dragged into war. 1 second too late, Rzeszów might be burning. At 12:12 a.m., on September 10th, the silence shattered. The red alarm klaxon roared through Polish Air Force Command. Emergency, multiple unmanned aerial vehicles closing on the border. Brigadier General Krzysztof Połek gave the order without hesitation. Activate Patriot batteries, scramble the F-16s, report to NATO at once. From Lublin, Patriot M903 launchers opened their steel jaws. 4 PAC-3 MSE interceptors shot skyward, fire carving into the night. Within seconds, the missiles accelerated to Mach 4, radar guidance locked with surgical precision. 12 seconds later, the first Shahed erupted in a flash, fragments raining down over dark fields. Splash 1, came the cold report. 3 seconds later, another split apart mid-air. Splash 2, 2 more detonations followed in quick succession. 4 down, 15 remained. No cheers filled the bunker, no relief. Officers simply drew lines through red tracks on the glowing screen, their faces unmoved. The Wolfpack was still coming. Above, 4 F-16Cs roared off the runway at Wask Air Base, afterburners tearing open the night sky. Their radars blinked target boxes across the HUD, each pilot's finger poised over the trigger. Fox 3, the first AM-120T AMRA-AM streaked free, climbing before diving on its prey. Seconds later, an orange bloom confirmed another kill. Splash 1! A second pilot followed, double launch. 2 more fireballs lighting the horizon. Splash 2, Splash 3. Then a Sidewinder struck hot exhaust at close range, splitting a drone in half. Splash 4. By the time the first wave ended, 8 Shaheds had been obliterated. 11 remained, angling west toward Rzeszów. The reports came in flat, unbroken, confirmed. 8 eliminated, 11 inbound. The trap had sprung, but the night was far from over. At 12:25 a.m., the swarm pushed deeper into Polish skies, only 38 miles from Rzeszów. Suddenly, the pack split into 2 groups, hugging terrain at barely 1,600 feet, desperate to vanish from radar. But NATO's eyes never blinked. Every red dot streamed across cockpit displays, every move mirrored through the AWACS network and Link 16 data link. High above at 30,000 feet, 2 Dutch F-35A Lightning IIs slid into the fight. Their stealth profiles left them invisible to Russian operators, but their radars and data feeds painted the air with perfect clarity. Pilot 1 clipped his mic. Fox 3. From the belly bay, an AM-120 roared into the night, slamming a drone into an orange fireball seconds later. Pilot 2 answered with a double launch, 2 more AMRAAMs tearing through the swarm. Twin detonations lit the horizon. To conserve long-range shots, 1 F-35 closed in, flipping to its 25mm GAU-22A cannon. A short burst shredded another Shahed, sending it spiraling down in flames. 4 more kills. The tally climbed. 12 destroyed, 7 still alive. But the survivors pressed on, weaving along rivers, skimming treetops, trying to sneak under the shield. From below, Polish F-16s moved in, their HUDs glowing with target boxes. Fox 3. Fox 2. One by one, more drones disintegrated, yet the tension only thickened. Each mile closer meant Rzeszów's lifeline was at greater risk. In the command bunker, the voices stayed cold, mechanical. Confirmed, 12 targets eliminated, 7 remaining. No triumph, only calculation. The Wolfpack had been thinned, but the most dangerous stretch lay ahead. The last gate was Rzeszów itself. By 12:30 a.m., only 7 Shaheds remained. They streaked low, weaving through valleys and riverbeds, their silhouettes barely above the treetops.
12 eliminated.
Each mile carried them closer to Rzeszów, now just 20 miles away. The lifeline of NATO was within their reach. The command order cut through the tension like steel. All units, weapons free. Patriots launch second salvo. F-16s and F-35s coordinate. Wipe them out. From batteries near Rzeszów, 4 more PAC-3 interceptors screamed into the sky. Within seconds, 3 drones erupted mid-air, torn apart in incandescent flashes. Splash 1, Splash 2, Splash 3. The surviving 4 pushed forward recklessly, but NATO's hunters were already closing. Above, F-16 pilots locked in. Fox 3. An AMRA-AM lanced ahead, obliterating the lead drone in a burst of fire. A second pilot answered with a Sidewinder, homing on exhaust heat, ripping its target into burning fragments. Splash 4, Splash 5. Miles away, the Dutch F-35s finished the hunt. From stealthy silence, 1 AMRA-AM shot out, shredding the penultimate Shahed. Then, Pilot 2 switched to cannon fire, a short controlled burst cutting the final UAV into glowing wreckage that rained down against the night sky. Splash 6, Splash 7. At 12:31 a.m., radar screens cleared. The red dots vanished. Silence returned to the bunker. 19 targets destroyed, 0 losses. The report came flat, precise. Confirmed, all drones eliminated, no further threats. That night, history had shifted. For the first time, NATO's weapons had spoken directly in the war, decisive, coordinated, and unflinching. What Moscow imagined as a probing strike had ended as burning debris scattered across Polish fields. By 1 o'clock a.m., the official report reached Brussels. The message was short, almost understated. 19 hostile UAVs destroyed, no losses. Yet beneath the numbers lay a turning point. For the first time since the war began, NATO had fired directly on Russian hardware inside alliance territory. That very night, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg condemned Moscow's recklessness, declaring that Allied airspace would be defended inch by inch. In Warsaw, Prime Minister Donald Tusk's words carried a heavier edge. 19 UAVs violated our skies in one night, and we shot them all down. This was no accident, no coincidence. Poland invoked Article 4 of the NATO treaty, forcing the alliance into emergency consultations. By dawn, 30 nations gathered in Brussels, faces drawn with gravity. The United States pledged more Patriot batteries and F-15Es for Poland. Germany committed Eurofighter Typhoons and mobile radar. Britain, the Netherlands, Italy, and Norway all rotated additional F-35s and short-range defenses. Within 48 hours, NATO's eastern frontier bristled with the densest wall of air defense Europe had seen in decades. Ukraine seized the moment. President Zelensky addressed his nation. Last night, NATO did what Ukraine must do every night, shoot down Russian drones. This proves we are not alone. The applause thundered across Kiev, echoing the sense that the war's balance had shifted, even if subtly. In Moscow, officials scrambled. The defense ministry claimed the drones had strayed, jammed off course. Few believed it. European media mocked the excuse. 19 drones all drifting by chance straight into Poland? Too expensive a coincidence, one headline sneered. What the Kremlin had framed as a low-cost test ended in failure, their Shaheds reduced to flaming wreckage. Russia had miscalculated, Poland had waited, NATO had answered. And as the last fragments of metal cooled in Polish fields, one truth blazed clear. The alliance was no longer watching from the sidelines. It was now part of the fight.